Thanks for hearing from my channel. Please like, subscribe and support us if you feel interested. Empowerment Arc Chapter 17 The outcome of the promise. It was the beginning of a new morning. Everyone had gathered in the workroom. Yesterday, we had borrowed a vacant room that was meant for apprentices in order to stay the night. When we first entered the workroom, there were already 4 people inside were just staring at the magic steel ingot. All the while sighing, they were turning it over and over in their hands, checking if it was real. The ingot I had handed over was only the size of a human's fist. I thought it was an overly exaggerated reaction, so I asked, "Is it really that rare to see? What are you even saying?" Uncle San, Kaijin, answered me, and followed it up with an explanation. Magic ore was the raw form of magic steel. Even in its unrefined form, magic ore was considered to be valuable. The reasoning was very simple. Its rarity and its versatility. There was a major element that existed in this world called magic essence. This magic essence, that didn't exist in my original world, occupied a major role in this one. When a demon was defeated, very rarely it would drop a condensed mass of magic essence called a magic stone. This magic stone was something like a concentration of energy, which was used as fuel for an invention unique to this world, spirit engineering. This magic stone acted as a core for superior demons, and on top of being more beautiful than most precious gems, it was said to contain an unimaginable amount of energy. As such, magic stones of superior demons were used as the core for many manufactured goods. Craftsmen were said to even use these as raw materials for the accessories they created. Those items would grant various effects upon the wearer, such as an increase in abilities, or an effect that would bind the item to the user only. And between magic ores and regular ores, there was one decisive point that sets them apart. Without exception, magic ores would only form around the vicinity of superior demons. The reason was, that when regular ores are exposed to dense concentrations of magic essence, they would slowly absorb it over a very long period of time. Only when a great amount is contained would regular ores finally undergo a change into magic ores. It was similar to how minerals would suddenly change. Naturally, only powerful demons would be inhabiting locations with high levels of magic essence. Magic ore was hard to find in locations like the habitats of weak demons that adventurers defeated to earn pocket money. For magic ores to form, at the very least, it needed to be a place that B-ranked demons or above would live in. Incidentally, this was the first time I learned some information regarding the ranking of demons. So that's how it is. Well then, I wonder, I should also be around B rank? If that's what you think, it must be true. Though you're alone in thinking that. Everyone thinking to themselves most likely. Everyone apart from that ninny Gobuta was thinking the same thing. Well, leaving the idiot aside. Magic ore was already such a difficult thing to obtain. But the amount of magic steel that could be extracted from that said ore was only roughly 3 to 5%. In other words, a lump of magic steel, the size of a fist, was worth money that was 20 times its value in weight. The way money was valued here was almost the same as in my original world. A common way of measuring money, the gold standard system, was adopted across the nations. Well, what all this meant to me was that the metal was much rarer than I had guessed. As expected of me. Not missing a single thing. In the cave. By the way, I became just a little bit scared about the fact that I secretly possessed a huge amount of that magic steel. There was no way anyone could find out, but what if someone did? Was I thinking this because I was a petty bourgeois? Anyhow, the main issue was from here on. Magic steel was not simply valuable just because of its rarity. There was a true reason for its worth. That was because the metal possessed a property that had extremely good affinity with guiding magic power. It was possible to control magic essence to a certain degree using imagery and the mind. My magic perception was the same, and even the effects of water manipulation was brought about the same way. The majority of skills used by demons were based on using magic essence in such a way. Although I didn't know much in regards to magic, I had suspected that the theory behind its use was no doubt similar. And so, what if a huge amount of magic essence was included in the raw materials of a weapon? Astonishingly, apparently it will become a weapon that grows. How romantic. What's it like? I want it. Though I managed to firmly hold my inner thoughts back, the words that almost burst from my throat still remained on the very tips of my tongue. It was a weapon that responded to the thoughts of the user, gradually altering its shape into the desired ideal form. And depending on the magic power of the user, it was even possible to freely transform its form in the midst of battle. Furthermore, due to its high affinity with magic essence, it would amplify the power of skills. In a way, when compared to normal weapons, unless there was a great difference in talent, the magic weapon would definitely bring its user victory. Perhaps, though this was just my speculation of a case of pouring money and utmost use of technology, if a superior demon's magic stone was inserted into a blade of pure magic steel, would it possibly become a sword of fire, or sword of ice? Though in my heart I was screaming, hurry and make it already, it was not good to get too excited. I felt that it could be done, so I wanted to procure a magic stone if the occasion presented itself. After a long time of explanations, Uncle Sam and Co. were now working on the sword. For future reference, we were also observing what they did. Although that Gobuta was no doubt just sleeping. When creating a sword, there were a variety of kinds that could be made. In my heart, the strongest sword is of course, the Japanese sword. However, even among katanas there were still all kinds of varieties. To contemplate on what kind of sword you could make, was also something quite interesting to think about it. It had been 10 hours since they had begun work. A longsword that looked nothing out of the ordinary had been completed. What's this? A large part of magic steel was still left unused. The amount was still largely the size of a fist. It was to the extent that made me think to myself, would it be all right to use just that much for one sword? Upon asking, I was given an answer saying, if all of the magic steel was used as raw material for the sword, who knows how much money that would cost? If you thought about it, it was natural. It was no wonder they didn't make such extravagant things like elemental swords. I now understood that it simply required too much money. Apparently, they had used magic steel as the core part, while most of the blade was made out of ordinary iron and steel. I was told that magic essence in the magic steel would seep into the iron and steel parts, then eventually become completely merged. It was said that the more it aged, the stronger it became. Another special characteristic of magic weapons was that the blade would never rust or become chipped. Curiously, I was told that the weapons had a life of their own. If it became completely broken or bent, then the magic essence would burst out and dissipate all at once. Uncle Sam had explained all that to me, all the while holding up and displaying the sword he had completed. It was quite interesting to listen to. I took up the finished sword and gazed at it in my hands. Though I had no hands. Looking carefully, although it was of a simple design, it was perfectly straight. It could be said that there was no unnecessary part to it. It didn't appear to be meant for pure cutting, which was the main principle behind a Japanese sword, but still seemed capable to be used for slashing attacks. I see. The goal of this design was to use this simplicity as a base to make it easier to realize an individual's respective ideal form. Keeping that in mind, I could agree with the way it was made. Well then, as promised, Uncle San and the others had completed a magnificent sword for me. Now it was my turn. All right. From here on I'll be working in secret. I'm sorry, but after confirming the raw materials, I want everyone to leave the room. Saying that, I made sure that everyone would leave the room. After all, I couldn't afford to let anyone know my manufacturing method. Mainly because it would be troublesome to explain. All the necessary materials are assembled in this room. But will you be all right? If needed, I can help out. I'll be fine. Rather than that, during the next 3 days, make sure not to peek in the room, okay? It's a promise. I got it. I'll believe in you and wait. After that, Uncle San and the others left the room. For some reason, Gobuta also went with them. There might be a need to strangle some sense into that idiot at least once. Now then, today's recipe on the menu shall be, how to make, longsword à la carte. The method of production was simple. The first step was to swallow up the model product. Next, what I had to do with all these materials lined up here was, to swallow them all. Chew, chew, gulp. And then, I would mix them well inside my stomach. All I had to do was repeat that process 19 times over, and it would be finished. Easy, wasn't it? But still, good children should never imitate this, right? And that was how I carried out my work, with my head full of silly thoughts. This was bad. The time needed to copy one sword took roughly 10 seconds. 190 seconds, a little over 3 minutes, and I had made all 19 longswords. It hadn't been 5 minutes since I had driven out Uncle San and the others. How should I put it? Even though I knew I could do it, the way I did it so easily made me feel a little guilty toward all of the hard-working craftsmen sans out there. Predator was seriously too cheat-like. Well, what now? Since I had told them something like, "Don't peek in for 3 days," was I to confine myself here for the next 3 days? No. As one would expect, there wouldn't be any use in pointlessly staying here. I might as well be out with it and tell them bluntly that I was done. Bong. Loudly opening the door, I stepped outside. Kaijin-san and the 3 brothers were looking over in worry as they hurriedly rose to stand up. Gobuta was sleeping. To be asleep within a mere 5 minutes since I was in there. What was up with you? Indeed. That was the moment I decided somewhere in my mind, I would really strangles him sometimes. Hey, what's wrong? Did something happen? Was the materials perhaps not enough? Or was it that it was impossible after all? Everyone was questioning with the same concern in their faces. No, actually, you see. All those eyes full of worry were hard to stand. I couldn't help but put on airs. Still the same as ever, I had such a bad personality. I'm sure I couldn't be cured of this even if I died. Just kidding. Actually, I've already finished it all. Opening square bracket ellipsis ellipsis dot. Huh? Altogether they raised their shocked voices in perfect harmony. Well, of course they'd be surprised. Cheers. In honor of successfully completing our work, we were drinking in a bar. We were celebrating under the pretext of having made sure the goods were safely delivered. Well, I did tell them that it wasn't a necessary thing to do, but they said, "Now, there'll be plenty of pretty older sisters there. Yeah. Young pretties and mature ladies. It's just the right place for gentlemen to visit." Opening square bracket ellipsis ellipsis dot exclamation mark closing square bracket. Third bro is silent. Sort of PRN. South asterisk X drive has activated to an amazing tentacle, 100%. Hey now. If Master Rimuru doesn't go, the party won't begin. I didn't want to, but there was no choice. These guys were really a handful. Man. My sincere image of a refined man will go to waste. This was really it's troubling. I was told the name of the establishment was Night Butterfly. Would there really be butterflies? I wouldn't forgive them if there are moths. No, it's not like I'm interested in that, okay? And while thinking these thoughts, we entered the shop. Oh my. Welcome. Welcome to our shop. Collective welcome by waitresses, hostesses. Few. Extremely beautiful women were standing all lined up. Oh, those long ears. Arofu. No, I mean, it's an elf. PRNEEROF*CK. No, I mean, it's an elf. Wah. Oh man. Their clothes were too revealing. Ah, you could almost see, but couldn't. What was with that? I was even using magic perception with all of my strength. Normally I use it on a 10% output low energy consumption mode. These elder sisters were all resolutely dancing in between the lines of modesty. Arg, was this a challenge? Was this a challenge towards me? Damn it all. Yuwa. How cute. White. Even though I had my eyes on it first. Smush. Boyoyon. Bouncing sound effects, basically it's here. On my body a sensation of puyon. On my back it was boyon. Was this paradise? Although you seem discontent at first, it looks like you're having a great time? Gasp. Oh no, for the great me to be like this. No, not that much. I guess that was a bit too forced. Not a single one of them believed in me. However, I couldn't help it. What could I do? I mean, right now I'm on top of an elf's lap and being hugged from behind. My heart is so deeply moved. If only my late son, currently non-existent, was still alive, he would be so excited and frolicking about. We were passing away the time and enjoying ourselves when someone interrupted us. My, isn't this Kaijin Dono? That's no good at all, to bring a vulgar demon into such a refined establishment as this. A provoking voice had called over to where we were. Who was that? Who was this old man? All of a sudden, our surroundings had quietened down. As if they disliked that old man, the serving girls all had a hint of dislike on their faces. But it was hard to notice unless you carefully observed them. Unusually for a dwarf, the old man was of a slender build, and rather tall. Though I say that, he was around the height of a normal human. Hey, madam, do you permit the entering of demons into this shop? No, even though it's a demon, it was only a harmless-looking slime so. Hua? It's still a demon. Am I wrong? Do you mean to say that a slime isn't a demon? No, it's not like that, I never meant. Mama-san had replied non-committally in an evasive manner, trying to avoid those angry words, but the old man paid no further attention to her. It was plain to see that the old man's objective was us. This isn't good, that's the Minister Bester. So that was the rumored Minister Bester? I see, how should I put it? His face had a high-strung and obstinate look about it. At that moment, HMPH. For a demon, this would suit you well. Saying such nonsense, he splashed the top of my head with water. That really got on my nerves, but I firmly put up with it. Since my opponent was the minister, I couldn't let my quick temper get the better of me and make trouble for Uncle San, Kaijin, or this shop's Mama-san. To be banned from this shop or something like that, I didn't want to experience such a sad thing. But just when I had resolved to endure it all, oi. Just because we were nice and quiet, you get full of yourself. Uncle San kicked the table flying with a bang, and stood up. Hey, Bester. Bastard, acting so rudely to my guest, are you ready for what's coming to you? Eh? Hang on, Kaijin-san. The other party is the minister, is that okay? Minister Bester had become stiff from astonishment, and I was also jumping up and down in a panic. A gentle and soft sensation exploded from my back. It wasn't on purpose. Absolutely. Yo, you bastard. To dare to use such words towards myself. Minister Bester couldn't even properly speak due to his anger and surprise. Isn't it about time you became silent? Bellowing in a fury, Kaijin-san sent an unhesitating fist flying towards Minister Bester's face. Rimuru Dana, you were searching for skilled craftsmen, right? Would I be lacking? You would be far from lacking, but, I should say, will this be all right? But well, after hitting the minister, there would be no place for him in the country now. However, in a man's life, there would be times when words were unneeded. I'll take you up on those words. I look forward to working with you, Kaijin. I didn't care about the minor details. If Kaijin wanted to come with me, I was just fine with that. Pretty words can go to hell. I'll be satisfied with living the way I want. Kaijin and I passionately nodded to one another. And so, our promise was fulfilled. But still, from here on, how should we escape the country? As expected, when in society, if you didn't act with prudence, a mountain loads of problems would come about. Even if you were to put up a front, those problems wouldn't simply go away. Status name: Rimuru Tempest Species. Slime Divine Protection. Crest of Storm titles. One who controls demons. Magic. None skills. Unique skill Great Sage. Unique skill Predator. Slime inherent skills Dissolution, Absorption, Self-regeneration. Extra skill Water manipulation. Extra skill Magic perception. Acquired skills: Black snake heat perception, Poison mist breath. Centipede paralysis breath. Spider sticky thread, Steel thread. Bat ultrasonic waves. Lizard body armor. Black wolf super olfaction, Thought transmission, Intimidation, Shadow movement, Black lightning. Resistances: Heat fluctuation resistance X physical attack resistance Pain immunity Electrical resistance Paralysis resistance. Thanks for hearing from my channel. Please like, subscribe and support us if you feel interested.